On day 2 of the EV Charging Summit 2026, we sat down with 4 leaders from across the EV charging value chain. We talked to a CPO, 2 hardware manufacturers, and a company processing the payments that make it all work. Here's what they had to say. We are on day 2 of EV Charging Summit 2026, recording live on the floor. And today I'm joined by Aaron Young, Electrify America. Aaron, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Juice.
Well, let's talk about your background.
I joined Electrify America in its first year of founding, 2017. So I was one of the first tranche of like 60 or so employees. And I worked on infrastructure planning in the beginning.
We're very happy to have Mike with Alpitronic with us today. Mike, thanks for coming on. Talk to us about your role, please.
I've always been interested in electricity, entered the EV space, or even honed the passion of electricity even more into EV.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the space since 2017. I've been at Alpitronic for around 3 years. And the mission was to open up the business in the US.
Right now, we're joined by Adam Wagner of Kemp Power. Adam, thanks for sharing some time.
Yeah, I'm Adam Wagner. I'm a senior solutions engineer. So dealing with the realm of deployment, electrical, civil, and just making sure the technology works. So senior solutions engineer. I come from an energy background. So I've been doing microgrids for a couple of years.
Okay.
Been at Kempower 3 years now. So I was the first engineer hired in North America.
I am joined by Carly from NIACS today.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me. My name is Carly Furmin, and I am the CEO of North America for Nayax.
So Electrify America, obviously a staple brand in the space as a CPO. What's y'all's port count up today?
Yeah, we're at 5,600 chargers across 1,080 stations. Yeah.
Wow. And DC port to level 2. Would you say percentage wise?
Yeah, we have very few level 2s. At some of our early locations, we had a single level 2 at the station in metro areas just to make sure, somebody had an option if they were plug-in hybrid. But the 5,600 number is all DC fast chargers, and all of them are 150 kilowatts or 350 kilowatts. So
yeah,
exclusively the high power, kind of looking for the fast charging. So we're working on figuring out where do we want to build these stations, what power levels, where EV is going to be. And at that time, outside of Tesla, there was like the Chevy Bolt, and that was the only like long range EV that existed. So it was an interesting time, and we were talking about everything was in the future, all these vehicles, and some people didn't believe they were coming, but it was nice to be at a company, and still there, of course, but it's nice to be there where we had that long-term vision. We knew they were coming, and we were building the infrastructure like based on knowing that that's going to happen.
So in Energy Mobility Space, 2014, one of the you said first 60, part of the first 60 of Electrify America. That's pretty cool. So you've been able to see some incredible growth of the company. When you joined, what year was that, you say?
I joined in 2017 at Electrify America.
Okay.
Yep. So it's first year. Yeah.
Alpitronic, we launched our first charger in 2018 after about 9 years of experience of building components for electric vehicles. Today we have around 120,000 DC FC ports live globally. It was really our customers who asked us to come to the US. And so we did. There's always a difference, right, between the units that come off the line and the units that are installed. And while we have 120,000 ports installed, there's probably another 50% of those out somewhere in the warehouses of our customers to be installed.
We are the leader in unattended payments. And really, what is unattended payments? We're the one-stop shop for the entire payment process, from integrating with every and any EV charger manufacturer all the way through to actually paying out the CPOs for the driver's payments. We have over 115,000 operators, what we call our operators, globally, and 1.5 million devices, right? So be able to
1.5 million devices.
We have 1.5 million devices now.
Wow.
So Kempower's been in the market 8-9 years now, purely as a DC fast charger manufacturer, doing our own powered electronics and then our own dispensers. You mentioned Kempi, that's our owning company. They're actually a welding company. Welders and chargers, basically the same thing.
Yes.
One makes an arc, one makes cargo. We have 75 plus years of technology experience.
We always have had close relationships with the automakers. We're an open network, so we're supporting all the standard connectors. So we worked closely with them to understand they're building 800 volt cars. They're coming out with 350 kilowatts. And so that's what we built it to. But you're right. At the beginning, a lot of people looked at those stations and said, 350 kilowatts, what are they doing? Like they're going crazy. People were building 50 kilowatts at the time still. So
yeah,
but it's panned out now. I mean, that's what everyone is building now. I mean, we're here at the expo. You see all those high power chargers out there now. So it's good to see the space kind of going around that, because I think from a customer perspective, a user experience, that's what you need to have EV adoption take hold, is you need that quick experience. People don't want to be sitting there for an hour, hour and a half. They want to be there for 30 minutes if they're doing a fast charge. The team that I work on, it's powered by Electrify America. So these are third parties that want to own chargers, but they want to leverage our expertise in being able to bring the hardware, the software, the operations to make sure they're reliable. Costco is one of our big customers, New York Power Authority in New York. So we've got like utilities, retailers, and fueling centers. We've been focusing on larger format locations. What we've seen is that customers desire larger locations. So our focus on our investment is to build large locations, 10 plus dispensers per site.
Our R&D team has been absolutely awesome with these OEMs, especially the European OEMs. We've done very close collaboration with them, doing next-gen interoperability. So from day one of making a new product, it's not let's just make a product from the ground up and hopefully it works. It's, hey, let's get with these vehicle OEMs and let's collaborate day one and make sure we're doing it together. We do have over 6 interoperability test sessions with our new megawatt charging system. Last week, actually, we did our first official MCS interoperability test in the US. We did winter days, Kempower winter days, where we had 4 different MCS OEMs on the truck side on site at our first official MCS site in Sweden. And we just did interop with all of them.
That MCS site in Sweden, it's live and active now?
It is.
Ready for commercial activity?
It has commercial activity. They have MCS trucks on site
right now.
Today. Yeah, Alfredson is the name of it. It's a public site actually too, so anyone can bring their MCS truck there, but
fantastic.
Not many of them out there. It does have CCS2 on site as well, so available to the public in that regard, but it shares power between the MCS and the CCS, so you have a smaller grid reservation there as well because you're not really hogging up on standalone.
When are we going to be MCS ready, site ready here in the US?
So we have 2 installed already as pilot customers. We'd have a lot more coming in the next couple of months as well.
Fantastic. We'll be watching for that.
Yeah. Here in the US, we are waiting for the trucks though.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, the chicken or the egg, we'll see. But I think the infrastructure in place beforehand is really key to make sure that it's a successful, smooth transition to this new wave of electrification. I think MCS is going to enable long haul trucking unlike we really have seen before.
So working on various projects in power conversion, as well as a little known business that we do at Alpitronic called power cycling, which is where we take the semiconductor chips and we turn them on and off in our lab thousands, millions of times to simulate useful life. We are very laser focused at Alpitronic. We are doing level 3 DC fast charging. We're not doing level 2. We're not developing OCPP platforms. We're really laser focused on what we do best, which is really power conversion and power electronics. The shareholders are actually employees in the company. So that means, and you mentioned you came to the US because of your customers. We're not answering to a public market. Mm-hmm. We're not answering to a mothership company. We're not answering to a private equity firm asking us to have a valuation at a certain time. So that gives us the freedom to make these kind of long-term decisions for our customers. And really the only one above our shareholders is our customers, and we listen to them. So when they asked us to come, even if it was not at all the right time to come because we had so much on our plate in Europe, we went ahead and did it because we value our customers and we listen to them. They're the boss at the end of the day.
Talk about the configuration capabilities of Kempower's distributed system.
That's our bread and butter right there. Mm-hmm. It's a power unit with a type of dispenser. We have a bunch of different types of dispensers. So it's really, you choose how much power you have in a centralized area. That's our power unit. And then we distribute that to any type of dispenser. So your MCS dispenser, CCS1, control unit, stainless steel box, or our satellite with those famous springs on them. All of that is about taking the power and getting it to the dispenser that needs it most. Mm-hmm. And if it's not plugged in, let's get it somewhere else so we can use those electrons. So for a fleet site host for a depot, that's really good for a high reliability. If there is a failure, we can just kind of work around it and send that energy elsewhere. And then for a CPO, their number one goal is sell electrons.
Yeah.
When we have a distributed system, your ROI is a lot better because you're selling the most amount of electrons at all times, even if it's a low utilization.
Yeah.
So that vehicle can pull all of the power if it's the only one plugged in. But if a couple are plugged in, you're still selling all the power. So you have someone going to plug in at 5 p.m. when they're done. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. is one of the worst times for the grid. And so why not just pause that for a little bit and then charge from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. and no difference made for that truck at all. I've implemented something like that for a customer. California has a 6 to 9 p.m. really weird time of use schedule. They stopped charging from 6 to 9 p.m. in 1 year and saved $40,000.
You mentioned payment anxiety. We all have heard range anxiety. That's not a term I think I've ever heard, but it makes sense.
I think I might have just quoted that in my session for the first time.
So you have introduced a new term to the industry. We've already got a lot of acronyms and terms. Payment anxiety is now part of it. But the resolution of payment anxiety is what we're focused on.
That is one of the concerns for someone who is maybe not the most tech savvy. If I'm going to get an EV car, I don't want to be stopped dead on the road, and I need to ensure that I feel comfortable with how the charging session is. And a big part of that is, how am I going to pay? I don't want to have 10 different apps. I don't want to have to worry about getting to a charging site and I might not have that app and I need to download it and I'm in an area that
Upload
has
phones,
poor.
yeah.
I just want to be able to go and pay in a way that's synonymous with how people pay for fueling their cars.
That
So
bridge financing is huge when you think about it, because
Yeah.
these NEVI sites, as an example, that's $1 million site.
when I think back of when, we kind of started in the EV charging space in 2016 or 17, maybe, from Nayax's perspective, everything felt so a la carte. It was felt like you're picking off of a menu,
Mhm.
for the CPO, right? And nothing really was, no one was really speaking to anyone. And the worst case scenario, it just became a lot of finger pointing. And I think that's why too, there was a lot of concern with, EV drivers about range anxiety and payment anxiety and all that. So, now to be in the place we're at 2020s and actually have a much more unified solution, to offer CPOs and the drivers, right? With everyone actually working together within this space is really great.
We're entering really what we call charging 2.0. And that's moving from infrastructure deployment to driver experience. And we're starting to see a much, much greater focus on an easy user experience, an easy user journey for customers when they come to charge. Everyone knows the Tesla experience. That's a closed ecosystem and that works perfectly usually. And then when you're outside of that ecosystem, when you're dealing with, maybe 60 different vehicles and different grids and different temperatures and all sorts of variables, you need to put a bit of effort in that to deliver a reliable and good charging experience for customers. So I think the notion of we're just going to deploy stuff, throw it out in the field and turn it on and leave it is gone. And now our customers and network operators are much more focused on the driver experience and giving an easy user journey and a good experience for customers. And that goes, today we talked about not only the charger, but also things like amenities like trash cans, right? And having a canopy over where and then taking out the trash. And so the focus is shifting from let's just throw some chargers out to let's provide a good experience for drivers.
Early on in deployments, it was about where was the closest place to power, what was the most convenient deployment, and that didn't pencil out down the road. The experiential part of the charging is tantamount to success as an industry. But have you been to EVCS before?
I have. This is my third.
So I guess you've noticed the growth of the show.
Huge. I remember our first year was only in the one hall.
Yeah.
And then, now it's expanded to.
Yeah, I have before once last year. The tone last year was a little bit different, I would say. It was a little bit lower energy and stuff. Recently had the election at stake. And so I think the just industry as a whole was a little bit down. So this is really refreshing to be back here. And it's chill. It's not crazy or anything, but it is a lot better than it was last year. And I do think I see the hope kind of returning.
This summit is starting to be really outside of ACT, right? Which is a little bit different focus, really super focused on the charging piece itself. And it's starting to be one of the premier events, yearly events in the US, even surpassing some of the other ones that have been around a little bit longer. I see this event really, really taking off.
One thing that's really great about this is all the vendors that are here, all the different manufacturers. It's a lot of equipment that I haven't seen before.
Okay.
And so it's really interesting to me to see the new types of equipment that are coming in, the creative ideas. I think it's really cool to see people trying to, continue to innovate in the space and bring that out. And so that's one of the reasons we come here. We're always trying to look at what's next on the technology roadmap and make sure that our chargers and everything are evolving with the market.
If you could wave a magic wand and electrify any vehicle past to present, what would you be driving?
Get ready for this one. So my first car was a 1979 Volvo.
Okay.
2-door sedan. I would electrify that. It was silver. We called it the Silver Bullet because I shared it with my siblings.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
That's what you'd be driving.
It was a Volvo 262C. Look it up. 79. It's quite a beast.
I see our producer shaking his head. I'm sure he knows. He knows what that car is.
Is a tank. I mean, really, they don't make them anymore like this. I know that's an anecdote, but I remember one of my siblings, I won't mention which one, rear-ended a friend, and the Volvo was just like, whatever, I'm here. And I think it was a Volkswagen Jet or something. It was just completely
Obliterated.
That's what I'd electrify.
Yeah.
And then I'd make my children drive that one to be safe.
Say moving around in a tank. Yeah, that's fantastic.
I would want like a sports car. I would want a convertible, like you know, like a Porsche or something like
Okay.
that. Especially if you could get like some bigger storage, because you know my brother-in-law has a Porsche, and it's he's got a frunk, which is cool, but he's got an engine in the back, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have much space to store anything.
Mm-mm.
So I think that would be pretty convenient to have an electric kind of Porsche sports car.
I love the
Yeah.
Kia EV6 and EV9s.
Uh-huh.
Like those are sick cars. They charge awesome. Their
Yeah.
battery capacity is really good. I am excited to see though the Zeekr. I have some colleagues in Europe over in the Netherlands who all have them, and they love them. And I've heard some inklings that they're coming to the US and some bigger deployments here soon. So I'm excited to see them in person and maybe get behind the wheel of one soon.
If you weren't in the EV industry, what would you be doing?
I would do like woodworking.
Okay.
That's like a hobby I picked up during COVID, making furniture and that kind of thing. And detailed, doing something with your hands. I feel like that's
Yeah.
very that's very nice to like get that payoff when you see something.
There.
I really believe in the green transition. I'm an avid skier.
Okay.
And so I kind of want to save the snow. So that I'm working pretty hard and to do that is my goal here.
I think I would be doing something still around electricity. Again, it's been my passion since I was a child. And
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. I can still remember one story when my dad had this old headlight and it
Okay.
had a kind of 3-pronged plug on the back of it. And I was like, oh, wow, you can plug that into the outlet. You know, I was a kid. I didn't know. So I picked it up. I'm in my basement and I reached over to plug it in. Then I was like, I don't know. I got a little bit nervous. Okay. So then I looked around. I got an extension cord. So I plugged it in the extension cord and put it on the other side of the basement. Then I went up to plug it in. And of course, you can guess what happened next.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap on this special edition of Field Frequency, live from day 2 at the EV Charging Summit 2026. A very special thanks to our guests today. Be sure to connect with each of them on LinkedIn and follow Field Advantage at fieldadv.com. This episode was produced and edited by the team at Atozi. To find out more, visit their website at autozy.co.